something, but I just want to say welcome to this week's edition of the Yamhill Leadership Roundtable with Mayor Linda Watkins from the City of Carleton, Mayor Rachel King from the City of Amity, Penny Berg from the McMinnville Public Library, Howie Harkema from Encompass Yamhill Valley, and Casey Kula, Yamhill County Commissioner. So thanks again for joining us today. Howie, it looks like, is the only one outside, but it's raining here, so I'm not outside. And whew, it so happens that we are slowly falling in our case counts in Yamhill County. So congratulations, everybody. It's slow, but it is steady. So good thing there, very good thing. But I wanted to start by asking Mayor King especially, but just how, for all of you, how is access to testing among the people that you know, if you had the opportunity or the need to get tested for COVID, what can be done better? We're hearing that from community members that is very challenging. And we now have two kind of dedicated days that Yamhill County Public Health is doing testing. But what's your experience been? And this goes out to Howie and Jenny as well. Mayor Watkins says no.
Yeah, I really haven't heard any complaints or any discussion anywhere about getting testing. I think most of the people I know have been tested, so you know, or either testing or whatever, or they've had their vaccinations. But I haven't heard any real complaints about testing access or vaccination access. So, for what that's, it's not being discussed. So I guess that means it's probably doing really well.
Right. And Mayor King, how about you?
So other than personal experience, I haven't heard too many stories. I know something because I try to share the information about Yamhill County's testing days, but the timing of it is hard. So in my family, we had a sore throat on a Sunday morning. That meant I called the schools on Monday, and we drove up to Oregon City on Wednesday for a test at a Walgreens. And then that took a 3-day turnaround. That was, you know, after calling primary care. So I think that there is availability out there, especially if people can wait, you know, to the end of the week. But with the turnaround times, they're saying that you should wait 3 to 5 days after exposure or starting to feel ill. So then when you pair that with a 3-day turnaround time, you know, the testing's there, but it's a big deal if you have to go that route.
Yeah, that's super helpful. That's super helpful. When there was a sore throat in our house, we had a very similar situation, but not with a child who was wondering about school. So, yeah.
Yeah, we ended up 2 kids missing a full week and a negative test. So, you know, better safe than.
And then Howie, you unmuted yourself.
I see a lot of testing going on, but not the rapid testing that might require, you know, only 24 hours or so to find out what the circumstances are. A lot of people on Facebook are asking for rapid testing, and I don't know of anywhere that's doing rapid testing right now, Commissioner.
Yeah, and Director Manfred and I were discussing, HHS, Health and Human Services Director Manfred and I were discussing whether we can include a rapid test component at the 2 weekly testing clinics. Because for some people, they really, like, you know, children who are otherwise going to miss a lot of school, it's a big deal to be able to have a rapid test.
Hi. Oh, sorry, Rachel, go ahead. Sorry.
I had also heard some advice of talking to the emergency management, in our case, Brian Young, about getting those supplies through FEMA as like testing needs ramp up. That seems to be the place that the county or cities might access them or be reimbursed.
Yeah, you know, I can definitely ask about that. there doesn't seem to be a shortage of testing supplies within Yamhill County Public Health specifically. But if there is with pharmacies, then we should know that. Sure. And then Mayor Watkins, you were going to add?
Yeah, I was going to say I've had a little more questions and questionable information regarding the third vaccine. Our understanding, of course, is that Moderna is not approved yet for the third shot. And yet I had a gal the other day who was saying that, well, she went to one store and they wouldn't give it to her, and she went to another store and they gave it to her. And we didn't even know that they were giving out a third shot at all. I thought that was just not even on the radar screen yet. So I don't know what's going on with that, but the county might want to check in with some of the folks and see what they're doing, because it sounds like there's some confusion, cross information out there that could be pretty dangerous.
Yeah, that's a good point. And as far as I know, and it's good to have Director Manfred on here to debunk these particular statements that I make, but as far as I know, commercial pharmacies are working directly with the federal government on this. And rather than going through Yamhill County Public Health. So that may be just an issue of the discretion of the vaccinator, the jabber, as it were.
Yeah. It's a little scary, and I don't know what exactly. Well, she may be able to help us and disentangle the web and see.
Yeah, in 2 weeks, we're going to have Director Manfred on with Dr. Koenig, the medical officer for the county, and then hopefully somebody from the Oregon Health Authority to do a roundtable specifically around pediatric vaccines. And we can ask all kinds of questions about testing and schools and quarantines when that comes up as well. So brace yourself for that one. But yeah, it is important to make sure that when people are going in to get a booster, that it is one, it's that the CDC recommends, the FDA approves, and that the folks there know about it. But my understanding is that both Johnson & Johnson and Moderna have submitted requests to the FDA for approval of a booster.
Yeah. This particular person is a school bus driver, so that really causes me concern. So I don't know, but we need. Well,
I don't know whether that person's going to harm anybody by having a third dose.
Yeah, there is that, but yeah, just worries me.
Yeah. Jenny Berg, have you heard anything about testing? And this is partly for the community, but it's also helpful for me to know when communicating back to public health. She has not heard anything. That's what we will take it as.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Was that for me? Did you call me particularly?
Jenny, have you heard anything?
What
has been your experience with testing? There you go.
I have not. My apologies. I missed that you said Jenny particularly, and don't have my camera on because I'm eating lunch.
That's what I figured. I didn't want to say, hey, okay, thank you very much.
But I am here listening.
Well, thank you for being with us. So then I would actually invite mayors to update the community about what's happening there. And then I can help kind of go through some of the things that the county's been working on, and hopefully American Rescue Plan stuff. So Mayor King, I saw a little pointing. Mayor King, what would you like to share with people?
Before we get off the COVID subject, I checked out the public health website this morning, and we're up to 61.8 of people 12 and older being fully vaccinated. So that's good. It's creeping up. And then our test positivity was down to 7.8 at last update, which is like cut in half from last time I looked at that number. So that was really good. Amity specific, we have our council meeting tomorrow night. Everyone's welcome. We're on Zoom. We're also meeting in person, and we don't have huge turnouts, so there's ample space if people want to come and listen. I was going to bring up Amity High School is having their blood drive tomorrow, but I checked and all appointments are filled at this point. So that's great. And then the First Baptist Church in McMinnville has a blood drive the next day on the 7th, and they have one appointment left. So if someone wants to jump on there, had to put that out. On the 23rd, Saturday from 11 to 3, we'll be doing a pumpkin giveaway at the city. Amity, giving away pumpkins in the First Federal parking lot. So if you know of someone in town that's in need, you know, or just really wants to get a pumpkin or come say hi, we're going to be there for the day. We have 600 of our 700 new water meters installed. So that's a huge accomplishment. Big shout out to Public Works and the staff, because it's a big undertaking, especially they had to do readings during that time of switching everything over and get bills out. So I'm really proud of that work. And then, not to jump ahead, but I also got word that the ARPA funding from the Oregon legislature that is coming to Amity should be here in end of October, end of November. So there was kind of a wide, like, oh, October to February. So narrowing it down is good news.
That's great news, because I heard January at the very earliest recently, and I thought, oh, yikes. And can you remind us what the city of Amity is getting? It's through the legislators' earmarks or set-asides, correct?
Yeah, so former Representative Neerman and Representative Scharf, we will receive $2 million, and that will go to replacing transmission lines from our reservoirs down to the city, so it's no longer bottlenecked and large enough to keep the flowing going. And then also we'll be replacing 3- and 4-inch lines, a whole loop down Goucher Street over to Oak, with the actual 8-inch lines that it needs to work correctly, and then get all the fire hydrants, some new and then improved. And so that will be all up to the standard it needs to be here and in the future.
That's huge.
Huge. Yeah, it's the, you know, I rattled off an email yesterday, but I said these are projects that would not have been possible at this time whatsoever without this help. And so it's really amazing to be able to see these happening in the community.
And then, Mayor, did you ever hear back about the timing of sidewalks? Because I know that you were trying to figure out, you need to coordinate, the city needs to coordinate with ODOT.
I have not heard back. So I will be at a meeting on Thursday, might have a chance to ask a question, and I'm just gonna keep doing some digging, because we're not in a place where we'll be starting next week. It's just a future outlook that I'd like to get lined up.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And Mayor Watkins, you probably also have ramp and curb replacements through ODOT, yes?
We're doing a lot of sidewalk replacement now, but it's not through ODOT right at this point. I'm not sure exactly how that works. Our city manager had a meeting with ODOT last week, and we may be losing our project manager on the reroute project. And
Mayor, I stopped being able to hear you right at right after project manager. But I bet we can hear you now. No, we still can't hear. Oh, now you're muted. Mayor Watkins, the question I had for you is the project manager, John Eustace. Or is it somebody else? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's John, who is also the project manager, as you might imagine, for the Newburgh-Dundee bypass. So we're all losing somebody in that time.
I'll see if, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, hopefully we can talk him out to not moving John, because he has been, I think, such a critical part of getting some of this stuff done. It's really kind of depressing to see that happen.
I really appreciated how he handled the various competing proposals, and then the quick alternate, hey, what about considering West Side? I just thought he was so professional and followed through on all of it so well.
Yeah, he is really, I think that's why everybody wants him. I think that's the problem.
Well, Mayor Watkins, he actually is moving to some town, I want to say it's Seward, Alaska, and he's going to be the city manager there.
No, oh no.
Yeah, so he's not being transferred out, he is moving.
Okay, I'm very happy for John.
Yeah.
I'm very happy for John. I'm really, really sad for the rest of us. So.
We have a lot of major projects that go through towns that need big work and good communication. So
yeah, and he is one of the best. He's been amazing. Other than that, we're doing sidewalks. We're working on Monroe Street, which is one of our other main streets. So we're about 30% done on Monroe Street with getting new sidewalks in there. We had a great meeting with Betsy Emery last week. Had a good long chat with her, and we were going through, the conversation obviously about what our needs are, especially as far as infrastructure, which I think she's probably hearing that from every city around here. Shannon has got the Public Works guys have brought in a couple of pieces of water pipe that they've removed in town as they've been repairing. And so those are wonderful visual aids, because you can talk about how bad the piping is. And until you bring in a 4-inch piece of pipe that is almost corroded shut and full of holes all the way around, it looks like a piece of, French drain. It's really hard to understand what we're talking about. So that was really nice. And I got a note back from Betsy yesterday. Did you folks get a note from her about, oh shoot, I didn't write it down. I will send it out to you guys if you didn't get it, regarding some of the stuff that the Congress just passed, and the money that's in there for certain funding for municipalities.
I did get that, but I think I got it from Fritz Graham from Senator Wyden's office.
Okay, yeah, I think they probably both sent it out, because both the senators were working on that. So.
And confession, sometimes I get overwhelmed by there's this, and then there's this, and then there's this, and I just want to know, can the pipeline move project on the Salt Creek Bridge, does it qualify for which one of these things here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was going through the list trying to figure it out, and just got involved in that and forgot the name of it. So I'm trying to think, other than that, we've just been plowing along with our water lines and trying to get those done. Knock on wood, things have been relatively quiet and just seem to be moving along right now. So we just, would like to hope it stays that way. And Howie, I sent you a message this morning. I don't know if you got it or not, regarding some stuff that I wanted to check with you on, if your organization can use. If not, I will take it elsewhere. But
no, I got the email, and I was going to talk to you about that here. Yes, we would take all of that and give it to First Baptist Church to utilize over the winter months. So yes, please. Okay.
Sounds good. So that's about, Carlton's just been kind of chugging along so far. So good. Thank you.
That sounds great, Mayor. And I will note that I need to finalize the dates, but we have at least a a
Right.
tentatively confirmed date to go and look at water systems with Shannon and hopefully with you, Mayor Watkins.
Yeah.
And I apologize. I sent the email doing site visit tours to just the city managers because I was like, how many emails am I going to send to these mayors in one day?
Right. Oh, that's
They,
fine.
they,
No,
they can coordinate with you.
yeah, and she's the one that is going to has to coordinate with our public works guys too. So best that she knows. But yeah, I think we're right now kind of tentative on sometime on the 22nd. We just got to get a time set.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
that's
And I was told that I had to be in Willamina at lunchtime. So.
Oh, that's the other thing we were working on. We were going to, in fact, this evening have a special meeting to interview two applicants for doing our comprehensive plan and zoning and planning. And one of them pulled out yesterday. So Willamina reminded me because we did get in touch with Willamina and they gave us some hints on what to expect and what to think about as we're doing the comp plan. But I think next week, hopefully we will have confirmed that contract and be getting started on redoing that, which will be a big relief.
That'll be a big deal.
Yeah, well, it's been about 20 years, so it's time.
And can you remind me, there was at least one subdivision or proposed housing development where that kind of prompted some of this, right? Wasn't that it? That folks were like, hey, what about this and this and this? And you said, well, this is our code.
Yeah, well, actually, two subdivisions with request for rezoning for a third, all by the same builder. But the first one, which was J.R. Meadows 1, which is basically almost, I think they've got 2 houses left to finish in there, which will put them up at 38 houses. It was a 38-house subdivision that went in a little more than a year from preparation of the soil to all the way through. I'm just stunned at the rapidity with which that went in. And yeah, that's what got the conversation started. And then we approved J.R. Meadows 2, which once again was, cause for great concern. And now we've got the zoning that we had to approve a couple of weeks ago for a third adjoining piece to that. So yeah, those were things that I had been actually asking about for the last 4 or 5 years, and everybody just didn't seem to think it was a problem because we weren't doing anything. And all of a sudden it went boom. We got 3 of them in a year. So.
Yeah, it's good. It's funny when you're like, well, oh, we need this now.
Oh, oopsie.
We needed this, but now we really need it.
Yeah. So all we can
great.
do is hope they're figuring about a year to get it done. So we're hoping that we will have it done before any more happens. And that's all we can do.
I like before any more happens, also known as before more people build houses.
Oh, yeah. It's scary. Yeah. Like it's not, yeah. We're worried.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. Well, I'm really glad that you're moving so far along with the water system. And I'm also glad that you have at least some of the funding to move forward with the sewer system.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you don't have those, or if they're tenuous and you're also having people building homes, that's a really hard place to be.
Well, that's kind of why JR2 is a little bit on hold. And also I think all they got for the other one was the rezone, because with JR2, we don't have the sewer system to accommodate it yet. We've got to get that done before they can really, before even the plats can be approved or anything even be started. We don't have, and we're really worried because we don't have fire flow to our elementary school. And the idea of adding even what it is now and then possibly adding more children to that is, cause for great concern too. So, but we can't, I don't think we can even start building anything more right now until we get the sewer systems upgraded.
And
So.
Mayor, can you remind me of how, from first JR Meadows with the 3 subdivisions, how many more houses that will be in your community, or like what's the projected bump up in population based upon these 3 developments?
Well, I don't know how they figure the average family in these houses anymore, but JR1 has 38 homes in it. JR2 is going to be, I think, at least 40 to 45 was my understanding. We also will have a 20-unit apartment going in at JR2, and we have a 10-unit apartment going in at JR1. So just those 2 alone, we're looking at, well over 150 bump up, if not more than that. And I'm figuring that's being very conservative on estimates. Well, actually 200, because I'm figuring 100 right now. We've got in JR1, we've just got over 100 people on that one by itself. And then the other one.
That's a lot of people in your town.
For a town that's got, right now something, 250 people in, or 250, I wish, 2,500 people.
I like that I heard "I wish" in there.
Yeah, it's it really is a tight little community. I'm not sure we're that tight though, but yeah, it's a scary thing to be thinking about adding, in a community of 2,500, adding on another 200 people. We just don't have the services or the accommodations for them. And that, like I said, doesn't even include the 3rd zoning that we did, because all we did was rezone that. They haven't even really disclosed to us yet what they're thinking about putting in or what they're going to be doing on it. They just wanted to get the zoning done. I don't know why, but they wanted to get it done early. So it's out of the way, I guess. So, yeah, we'll see, but we don't know.
All right.
No, that's about it from here.
And I would say, are there any questions for Mayor Watkins? All right, great. Then I will move on to Howie Harkema. Howie Harkema, what would you like to share with people? And are you getting ready for the Homeless Services Provider Summit?
Yeah, I was going to ask you to please give the date and time for that Zoom, Casey.
Yes, it's October 13th from 3 to 5. Or sorry, October 13th. Let me check. And so this one is specifically is for mayors. This is a meeting that I was calling together because I was hearing I guess dissonance, different homeless services providers, maybe overlapping and redundancy of services, not necessarily hearing what everybody else is working on. And sometimes every once in a while you need to get back together, do a check-in, talk about what's happening, what's working well, what's coming up, where people are getting the funding for their work, and how are people in the community benefiting from that. So Howie, I'm going to look up the date to be sure, though.
I know it's October 13th. I just couldn't remember the time, Casey. Thank you very much for doing that, by the way, because I do think that there might be some redundancy and also people trying to work together that haven't worked together before, and possibly a new collaboration between all of us. Encompass Yamhill Valley received a grant money from National Alliance on Mental Illness, Yamhill County, to provide warm meals, hot meals, at the library on Sundays for our Sunday sandwiches. They won't stop doing the sandwiches, but they're going to add like chili, stew, other warm factions of food to that. It's always at the library under the breezeway on Sunday from 1 to 3. And thanks to Jenny Berg and Courtney Terry, we now have the back of the Carnegie room to utilize for the servers to be indoors and hand the food out of that back door by the restrooms. Thank you very much, Jenny, for that. Encompass is also working on a number of projects, including putting together the winter shelters, day shelters for this upcoming winter. We know that we need to coordinate with Brian Young, of course, from emergency management, just like we did in the summertime for all of the extreme heat cooling centers that we did. So I'll be reaching out to all of Yamhill County once again to find out what are the possibilities and what are the drawbacks and challenges of doing this type of work. We had a board meeting last night of EYB, and we're progressing forward. We're hopeful for working out some contracts with different larger players in Yamhill County to make us more available to the services that are needed. And we're very hopeful that we can work those details out over this fall and early winter so that we can be in place and ready for the winter time. And that is my report for today.
Awesome, Howie. And confirmation, Wednesday, October 13th from 3 to 5, Housing Authority of Yamhill County, Yamhill Community Action Partnership, Providence, Newburgh, Habitat for Humanity, Newburgh, Encompass Yamhill Valley, Provoking Hope, Health and Human Services at the county, and Yamhill County or Yamhill Community Care Organization. I think that's everybody who's at that one. But forgive me because I believe that the mayors and I have Thursday, October 21st, housing and cost of housing meeting. So I'm apparently all over the place, but I do want to note that before the Homeless Services Partners meeting, Homeward Bound Pets will be doing a capital campaign like fundraising kickoff at the shelter, which is at Old McMinnville Road or Loop Road and Highway 18 by the airport. And it will include auctioning off who gets to put a pie in my face. So for all of you out there who love the idea of embarrassing me or shaming me even, this is your chance to make some money for Homeward Bound and to shame me.
I think that they would probably get more money if they could get, you got to choose which commissioner.
A really good point. It's a really good point. Like kick it up a notch there.
Totally.
Now we're thinking. I will let the executive director of Homeward Bound Pets know.
What kind of pie?
I'm sure that'll go over really well.
Hopefully a soft pie, I will say.
Well, I was thinking blackberry, What's your favorite?
I mean, I love them all. Or I hate them all, I think probably is what we should say, is that every pie will be a terrible pie for me. Yeah. But I'm sorry, Howie, I got that date confirmed, 3 to 5, and unfortunately by Zoom. And so this is a kind of a returning to Housing Solutions, which we did in 2019 through early 2021 or 2020, which is bringing together folks to get people housed safely and figure out what the barriers are and then break down the barriers. And it turns out a lot of barriers are just relationships and communication. And then there are other real barriers as well, really significant ones, as Howie knows.
Yeah.
Okay, Howie, is there anything else, or were there questions or comments?
Yeah, I just want to thank your wife, Katie Kula, for inviting me to participate in one of the videos for your upcoming governorship. I had a great time with them all, and it was really fun. And there was a number of people there that I know, of course, and it was awesome, and it was quick and painless, and lots of nice merch that they gave us, little badges and stickers, coolest stickers, and a bag, a soft bag to take in to the grocery store to fill with food that you can't afford. So thank you,
Howie. Yeah. Jenny Berg, what would you like to share from the city of McMinnville? And then I can make sure that I do an update on American Rescue Plan.
Okay, I do not have anything to share from the city, but well, I have something to share from the library and maybe the city of Carlton, which I was surprised Linda didn't say something about. And it's no major thing, but
I apologize because I forgot about that, but we're very excited.
Yeah, no worries. I'm teasing. I particularly just want to tell this group because it's because of this meeting that this happened. If you recall, I think it was one of the first meetings that I joined here. Linda mentioned that her community had expressed the desire for library services. And so we ended up, during that meeting, I was so excited about it. I sent her an email during that meeting. We ended up meeting the next week with Mayor Watkins and the new city manager and the director of CCRLS, and basically said, here's all the things that you can get right now, pretty much. And, the hope is that it reaches out to more people in Carlton who maybe are not aware of the services that are available for them just through the CCRLS, and then looking at it as a possible pilot program for new idea that the new CCRLS director has, which is a kind of not exactly a bookmobile, but a delivery vehicle that would be staffed by a librarian to talk to people about all the different things that they have available to them, downloadable books and streaming video and whatnot. So yeah, really exciting to just be able to reach out to people, and very exciting always when, something very quickly, somebody says something, something just moves forward very quickly. And I joked about, it's really rare in government where people come to you and say, those things that you want, yeah, we can give you those things and we can give them to you for free. Actually, you already pay for them. You might as well have them. So it was fun to be on that side of the table. And seeing you here, Mayor Watkins, makes me realize that I need to send out an email to City Manager Beauclair.
Beauclair.
C-A-I-R-E,
yeah.
Okay.
And just real quickly, I apologize. I realized that right after I cut myself off that I had neglected to mention that meeting, which was really exciting and just very much appreciated. I'm looking forward to it. We haven't really said a whole lot to folks around town because until we get everything in, all the ducks in a line, I don't want to get everybody's hopes up, but that was just really great. And yeah, Casey, we would not have been able to do that without our county commissioners. So
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yay!
Oh.
All right, thank you, Jenny. That's super exciting.
Yeah, thank you, Linda, for not mentioning it so that I could mention it.
Okay. One way or another, we'll make it work.
Yeah. Well, so last week, Yamhill County Board of Commissioners got our quarterly update from Abisha Stone, who is our economic development contractor who works for SEDCOR, which is a regional organization. And we had asked Abisha, the Board of Commissioners, to ask the Economic Development Advisory Committee, which has about 20 members from around the community representing different business sectors and different cities, to ask them to put their heads together and consider what the best use of the American Plan dollars that we had set aside for economic impact, economic development, help, business help, what would be the best use of those dollars. And what they returned to us was a proposal to use the first 1.1 million that's available this year, specifically for workforce retention, training, education, kind of like the building of an employee pool that's suited to the work that businesses have, and including pivoting, helping employees and businesses to pivot to the new work that they're doing or the new ways of doing things that the pandemic has taught them, the different venues and niches that they can do. And then the other one, I actually have to like look at it because I forgot what the other one was specifically around the localization of supply chains. And 500,000 to localize supply chains is not nearly enough, but it's a really good start. It's a way to put 5,000 towards a grant to plant a field to flax, which is one of the rebuilding the flax industry was a proposal that came to us recently because one of our homegrown businesses, ARC, which makes like high-end underwear they're based out of the Boho building, which is right beside Transit Center in the city of McMinnville. They said that they've been having an extremely hard time getting high-quality fabrics to their sewists who are in LA. That shipping containers prices keep going up. Some manufacturers that have to wait 6 months where they thought they were waiting 2 weeks for their raw materials. So localizing the supply chain, which will be, for our future, will be valuable to be able to build up systems where, somebody grows it, somebody produces it, somebody makes into a value-added thing, and then we market it from our. So 2 big things with the first round of money, and then the proposal was to spend some of the American Rescue Plan dollars specifically to look at what has worked in the past, what businesses are needing right now, and what they expect to need in the future. So it can actually guide our next round of dollars and guide us seeking funding through both the Business Oregon at the federal level, the Federal Bureau of Economic Development. And then the 2 other things that they identified for funding in the next round of funding, which would be next year, is helping to fund and identify affordable childcare. So building up the supply and then building up the slots and building up the cost reduction, which is way more than $1 million can do, but we've already identified some money through American Rescue Plan that's working on right now. And then the other component was affordable housing. And you all will probably be delighted to hear that. And of course, again, $1 million is not going to even touch the cost of housing. But this Economic Development Advisory Committee said that really going forward, having good employees that match the work that they have, having high quality childcare, having affordable housing, and having supply chain localization are the 4 things that will drive continued business success in the community. I was like, all right, well, let's work on that. So my hope with that last bit of funding that we will make available next year is that we can work with the state, either through Oregon Housing and Community Services or Business Oregon, to use the money as matching funds for a much bigger project, whether that's apartment buildings that people who make the median wage can afford, or whether it's apartments or housing for folks who are coming out of things like Project Turnkey motels. So we'll keep you posted, and I'm happy to take questions about any of those. But that's actually about all I know.
Yeah, I kind of crashed the party on that one, Casey, and so I tried to vote, but they wouldn't let me. They told me I wasn't on the committee. But it was interesting to me how quickly the 4 areas that you were talking about were pinpointed. There was not a lot of dissension or discussion about it. These were definitely from the folks that were there saying, we absolutely need, these are what we need in order to grow Yamhill County. Abisha is a fabulous moderator and oh my gosh, yeah, she's really, really good at what she does. But it was really interesting to hear from people from outside of Carlton, because I tend to get really kind of myopic. So yeah, it was remarkable how quickly they came to that. And she made sure that there was plenty of discussion about it. Nothing was forced, but it wasn't difficult to get where we ended up.
That's really fascinating, Mayor. I know
Thanks.
that at a previous meeting, there was a real a brainstorm. And so there were many ideas kind of all across the landscape. But so it was really cool to see 4 things. Here's what we really want the county to focus on.
Well, maybe they had the discussions already, and so they were being a little bit more narrowed in, focused. But yeah, I mean, there was plenty of discussion. The meeting went on, I think, for 2 hours, but it's still, part of it was just because Abhisha was trying to make very sure that people were really comfortable in the groove that they were going into, I think. But yeah, she did a great job.
That's great to hear. And I know that the 2 of the major categories that we haven't addressed yet, or that we haven't set aside the money from, are around broadband, because we're still waiting to hear on our request for information. So then we'll put out a request for proposals from that to community. And that, just as a reminder for people out in the community, when the county puts out a request for proposals, you don't have to necessarily be an internet service provider. If you want to make one up, there's a lot of folks out there who have a tremendous amount of knowledge about how providing good quality internet works. So you don't have to be necessarily one of the existing providers, which I think hopefully that's empowering. And so then the other component of that is that we still have a category that's internal infrastructure, capital improvement needs, and lost revenue. And that's a much smaller category because not a lot of lost revenue has been identified that the CARES Act didn't help with. So that's very encouraging. Unlike cities where you have a lot of things that have been very challenged. Yes. What else do you need to hear about?
I have this question that has just been, okay, I know you guys talked about it, I think last week when I wasn't here, but at the Council of Governments, there was a presentation about houselessness, and I can't remember the exact name, but it was the Marion and Polk County Alliance. And so when you and Howie were talking about that upcoming meeting, I guess I'm still unsure. Does Yamhill County, it does not have that same group that works with HUD funding. Is that correct?
Howie, do you want to take that one on?
Go ahead, Casey.
Okay, so technically we are part of the balance of state continuum of care, which is means that the Community Action Partnership of Oregon, so CAPO as its name, actually acts as the balance of state continuum of care. Look, I've learned something. It's very exciting. And so the money comes to them from HUD through competitive grants based upon, and the eligibility is based upon how well you do at documenting the work you do and the need. And then the CAPO distributes money, again, based upon that formula and grant competitiveness to local jurisdictions, but primarily to the community action partnerships. So unlike in the Marion and Polk County, their Mid-Willamette Homelessness Alliance, exactly, it's like the MHIA or MHA. So they essentially, the Mid-Willamette Homeless Alliance essentially acts as the convener, the organizer of all these different organizations, essentially acting as what Howie and I often do together and separately, which is to make sure that everybody's coordinating, working together, and that they're submitting the correct documentation to the federal government. So we don't do that part, but at some point we probably should have somebody doing that.
Thank you. That's very helpful. There's just so many tendrils there, and I was trying to lay it all out, and then I'm like, the meeting you're talking about kind of sounds like the same as what they do, is just bringing everyone together and making sure that things are laid out. So yeah, that gives me a better idea of the overlay.
So they're the convener, they're the builder of relationships, but they're also the compliance officer, if that makes sense. And I think we do need that in our own community, and whether that comes out of the work of YCAP or whether eventually we join the Mid-Valley COC, the Continuum of Care, we do need that going forward. I think that's the reality of it. Especially the more funding that comes into the county, into this community, the more work that's being done, the better and more important it is to have that coordination.
It's all about collaboration.
Yeah, and a lot of these smaller partners that are doing a lot of huge on the ground work, I just see that a lot of the funding and the paperwork and keeping that compliance overloads the amount of work, you know, one-on-one or on the ground that you're able to do. So I think it would be great to have kind of an oversight that could be focused. I think that goes a long ways, and especially, you know, getting the grants and pulling in that money. If you can be focused on that, you know, you can spread your efforts farther.
Howie, was there anything you wanted to add?
I just wanted to add a plug. I oversee a Zoom meeting with all the mayors. There is one this coming Thursday at 1 o'clock. It's a Zoom meeting. Thank you, Rachel, for attending last time. Linda, we hope to get you back in there. I know that a lot of people wonder why I do this with just the mayors, but it isn't just the mayors. I do invite other people. In fact, Casey's been invited a number of times. Unfortunately, it's the same time as he's in his commissioners meetings, Board of Commissioners meetings. But a lot of good things have come out of that. We are beginning to understand what the ramifications of doing nothing are, and to be more proactive than reactive. And I think that we're all learning a lot. And this is the 6th meeting, and I'm very happy to convene that meeting. So.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Howie. Thank you. People's lives are saved by the work you do, which was the point for you.
That's the whole point.
Yeah. All right. Any last parting thoughts for the community, for anybody here? All right. Well, we still have a pandemic with us, alas. So wear your mask when you're out there in the world. Get vaccinated if you can. Wash your hands. I always forget that part when I always forget that part when I'm saying it to the community. All right. We'll see you next week, everybody. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Casey.
Thank you.